Welcome everybody to MPC on October 18th. I'll turn it over to our chair, our Mayor Grant Creasy. He's online with us, so I'll turn it over to him to start the meeting.
Thank you, Member Gullickson. I appreciate it. I wish I was able to be there in person. This is one of those unusual times that it's just not possible. So, given that it is 5:01 by my clock here, I will call the meeting for the Municipal Planning Commission for October 18th to order. And as stated, an unusual situation, but to keep the meeting moving along properly, I'm going to hand over the chair role for this evening to Member Gullickson. The floor is now yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Creasy. Appreciate that. Just for voting purposes, we can't see you, so you'll have to do verbal. Okay.
Yes, and after the other votes have been registered, if you prompt me, I would be happy to do so.
Okay, we'll do that. So we'll make sure the other votes are first and then yours. Okay. All right, meeting's called to order. First item on the agenda then is adoption of the agenda. Are there any additions or omissions? Member Ross?
Thank you, Co-Chair Gullickson. I just moved to adopt the agenda as presented.
Okay, any other concerns? No? Okay, I will call the vote then. All in favor? Grant? Are you
In favor?
Okay, you're in favor. Good. Unanimous. Thank you. Then we have item number 3, adoption of the minutes from October 4th. Can I get a motion regarding that, or are there any changes or omissions to that?
Make
Member
a
Lentz?
motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Thank you very much, Member Lentz. All those in favor? Grant?
In favor?
Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, we move on to item number 4, which is old business, and it is regarding the daycare facility at 4013 53rd Avenue. Planner McLaughlin will be leading us in this. Thank you.
Councillor Gullickson, you'll need a motion to lift it from the table before we proceed.
Thank you very much for that. Can we get a motion for that?
Thank you, Co-Chair Gullickson. I'll make a motion to lift the previous agenda item back onto the table.
Thank you very much. Any discussion? No, we're good. All those in favor? Grant?
In favor?
Thank you. Unanimous. Thank you for that.
Thank you. All right, so I'm not going to present the whole item again. This is an application that Municipal Planning Commission did consider 2 weeks ago on October the 4th. And there were some outstanding questions and concerns that the MPC wanted discussed and addressed prior to considering the application. So on October the 4th, MPC did consider the development permit for the discretionary use of a daycare at 4013 53rd Avenue. And the application was tabled for 2 reasons. The first one was to allow administration time to conduct further consultation with the businesses on the subject site. And the second reason was to have the applicant review and provide information on whether drop-off and pickup could be accommodated at the rear of the site. So in relation to the further consultation, the next day on October 6th, so after MPC, there was a letter that was hand delivered to the 3 existing businesses on the subject property. So Strand 360 Marketing, Eastside Eatery, and it was also emailed to Trinity Lutheran Church as they're not on site all the time. And so we did receive a response from Trinity Lutheran Church, who had no objection to the application. And then Bob Wilson, who is the realtor who takes care of the leases for the property on behalf of the property owner, also did their own consultation and went to each of the businesses and had a conversation with them. Those are provided in your agenda package on who he conversed with and the times. And essentially all of those conversations that the applicant had is that they had no objections to the application. Today, Planning and Development did receive an additional submission from the director of Three Kids Daycare in Black Falls, which is going to be the operator of the daycare here in Lacombe. And so we can hand that out to the members. We do ask that at the end you just leave it so we can discard of them
Thank you.
properly. The director, Crystal, is also here, so she could also summarize her comments. So we can give you a few minutes to read through those comments, or alternatively, we could have Crystal come up to the mic and summarize as well. She talks about in her letter just about the need for the daycare and provides some other additional comments about their current operation in Black Falls. I'd look to the commission on how you'd like to proceed.
Thank you for that. Member Ross.
Thank you, Mayor Creasy. My intentions of postponing it was to do I'd like to see strong consultation if there's any more possible recommendations to the applicant, and there was none, and I appreciate the consultation with the other businesses in the area. I also received a couple of phone calls in support of the applicant and their outstanding history. And you can also go look on Alberta Daycare website, and that is comes highly recommended that she's met inspections and so forth. I was quite adamant on support of this from the start with the council, because this is a very much a need in our community. And I think all the information provided previously was very sufficient. And I thank the planning development for going further with the process. In the future, I wish applicants would attend these meetings. It would save on their process and their timeline. It's not always, we have a responsibility in NPC, and even I'll say on behalf of council, to allow people's concerns. It's not to deny it, it's to have a good process. And I know it's frustrating the length of the process, but in the future, I would really strongly encourage people to attend their meetings. So this could have been done 2 weeks ago, really, seriously. And that's because having known your Bob Wilson personally very well, he's a very honest and straightforward personality, and I respect him for that. But I did say to him, the doors are open, and I think planning and development are wonderful in mentoring people through that process. So be part of it. So with that in mind, I would just like to make the motion that Municipal Planning Commission, that the Municipal Planning Commission approves the applicant for a development permit for the discretionary use of a daycare facility with a 2.44 meter high fence around the outdoor play area, a total of 42 parking stalls on the site, presented on October 18th, 2023 on the land zoned I1, Light Industrial District located at 4013 53rd Avenue, legally described as Lot 12, Block 3, Plan 1720620, subject to the following conditions listed below. And I will just state that following conditions so I don't have to verbatim. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Ross. Now that's 5 conditions, is that correct, that are there? Is there more?
That's correct. It's
Okay.
5 conditions.
Good, thank you very much. Member Creasy, did you have anything to add to that?
Just one question and comment. With respect to the 2.44 meter high fence, I don't agree with the overall rationale. I think that this might have a negative impact on the individuals inside the enclosure. I think that it's too high. I would much prefer to see a conventional 6-foot high fence in there, whatever that is in metric, both for practicality of construction and also so it doesn't make it seem like such an overwhelming enclosure for those inside.
Thank you very much for that. Member Lentz, do you have any comments? Yeah, I'm sorry. Blame me for that for sure. Do you have any comments? No? Okay, I'd like, yeah, the fence, that was a condition that was brought up before. They'd even got to MPC. What was the reasoning behind that again, please?
So administration, when they submitted their plans, they did submit it as a 6-foot fence. So when we were reviewing the application, we upped it to an 8-foot fence to help with any debris that might flow or blow into the play area because it is an industrial area. And so there is a level of expectation that there might be garbage blowing around. And so it was more of that level of protection for the children inside the play area to give, I don't know if 2 feet will help, but the idea that possibly 2 feet would help any additional debris from not entering the play area.
Yeah, I know we don't always ask these questions, but sometimes we do to members that are here if they wish to speak regarding this. And would you like to, especially this issue, this is the one issue that I also have on the fence about, exactly. And I'd like to hear from the person that will be building the fence, whether this is an issue or not for them. And please state your name.
I'm Crystal Adela. At this current location that we're at right now, we do have a 6-foot fence. We do find that, yes, garbage goes out, but our staff also clean the yard each morning before kids are using that play space. We don't find too much going through the day. I don't personally think it's a concern. I think 6 feet is good enough for the fence.
Okay, what about doing an 8-foot fence? Would that be much of a issue for you?
I don't think it's much of an issue.
No?
I honestly, I don't see concerns with either one.
Okay.
I mean, it is what it is. If it has to be 8 feet, then we would do 8 feet. We do right now only 6. It's not, we don't have to have it for licensing reasons at all.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. So we do have a motion on the floor.
I'd like to,
You wish to speak again?
yeah.
No, I thought you already spoke to your motion
I
already.
did.
Member Ross.
Thank you, Co-Chair Gullickson. If there were to be an amendment to the motion to be the specific to the height of the fence, we would go down to 1.9 watt meters to be 6 feet.
6 feet is 1.8 meters.
1.8, sorry, I
Yes.
was just guessing.
That's, yeah, 1.8.
Okay, so to accommodate that, that is of an interest of Member Creasy, can make an amendment for 2.44 down to 1.8 meters.
So to clarify, we would need to amend both the main motion, which indicates the 2.44 meters, and we would need to amend condition number 4, which also references the height of the fence as well. So you would have to amend both.
Okay. So amendment to the original motion of 2.44 meters and condition number 4 stating the 8-foot high fence to be 1.8 meters.
Okay, any further discussion regarding that? No? Grant, did you want to say anything on that?
Thank you, Chair Gullickson. My reception is not the best. Did I understand that there was an amendment to alter the previous motion from the 8-foot down to 6 foot? Is that correct?
That is correct. And also to change it in the conditions.
Very good. In my opinion, that is a better option.
Okay, so we have 2 motions on the floor then right now. We do have to vote on one of them first, right? Before we do the second one.
So we'll have you vote on the amendment first.
The amendment for the condition.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So the motion we're going to vote on now is to amend the condition from 2.4 meters down to 1.8. And that's correct for you? Okay. Okay, all those in favor? Grant?
Yes, in favor?
Okay, so that's 3 in favor and 1 opposed. Remember Kent's opposed that. Okay, now we have the other motion on the floor, and that is an amended motion again regarding the height of the fence, correct? Okay, and that's for the approval of the application. Can you read it back to us, please?
I sure can.
Thank you.
Resolved that the Municipal Planning Commission approves the application for a development permit for the discretionary use of a daycare facility with a 1.8 meter high fence around the outdoor play area and a total of 42 parking stalls on the site, presented on October 18th, 2023, on the land zoned I-1 Light Industrial District, located at 4013 53rd Avenue, legally described as Lot 12, Block 3, Plan 172-0620, with the 5 conditions listed.
Do you have to mention that one of the conditions is amended or it's already been done? Correct. Okay. Thank you for that. Any comments, Member Creasy? We lost him.
I can hear most of what you're saying, but I did not hear the question.
Okay, I just was asking if you had any further comments before we voted, is all.
Thank you for that opportunity, but no, I did not.
Thank you. So we'll call the vote then. All those in favor? Grant?
Yes, in favor?
Thank you. That's 3 in favor, and it's passed 3 in favor and 1 opposed. Member Kent was against. Thank you for that. So that is passed. All right, so we can move on to our next item on the agenda, which is the shipping container. Are you staying for this one, Grant?
I certainly intend to.
Okay, well, if you disappear, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, so we have our 5.1, a shipping container, and again, Planner McLaughlin.
Thank you. The application before you is a development permit for the discretionary use of a shipping container to be located at 5404 56th Avenue. So it's actually just next door to us here tonight. The property is zoned CS, which is the Community Services District, which provides an area for large-scale community recreation, government, and other public services and their accompanying uses. And so we are considering the shipping container the accompanying use of the Lacombe Girls Softball Association of the baseball diamonds in this location, and administration is in support of the application. And so there's a few things that MPC is considering tonight. So there is the permitted use of a Class 2 sign, being a fascia sign. We need a variance to that fascia sign to allow it closer to the ground than the bylaw requires. We'll get into that a little bit more. The discretionary use of a shipping container and a variance to the screening requirement for shipping containers under the land use bylaw. So this application was circulated to property owners within 60 meters of the site. So 6 letters were sent and no responses were received in regards to the proposal. So as mentioned, the shipping container is for the use of the Lacombe Girls Softball Association. And essentially what they're looking for is just easy and quick access to their equipment when they're using the adjacent ball diamonds. So the shipping container in the photo is I'm certain it's the one that they will be using. It's located at a different ball diamond right now, but it will be moved to the subject site with this application. So under the land use bylaw, the site is surrounded mainly by other community services districts, as you can see in the blue. And so those lands are occupied by City Hall, Dancer's Edge Studio, the Lacombe Outreach School, and accompanying sports field. And then we also have to the south on 56th Avenue, some R4 and R5 districted properties, which contain detached dwellings and small apartments. So with this discretionary use, we've talked about discretionary uses a few times, and what we're considering with discretionary use is that we want to consider the impacts upon surrounding lands. And a discretionary use is something that's generally acceptable, but needs a little bit more of an in-depth look to make sure that it's reasonably compatible with neighboring properties. And so we look at the surrounding context and the suitability of the site and infrastructure to support the proposed development. And we do have some conditions that are recommended for consideration on this. So within the land use bylaw, specifically in the community services district, there are a number of regulations that shipping containers have to comply with. And so when we look at those regulations, this proposal does comply with all of them except for the requirement for screening. And so the bylaw does ask that the shipping container be screened using either solid fencing or coniferous trees planted at a minimum height to provide a wall of fencing around the shipping container. And so administration does feel that based on the location of the shipping container on the site, which I'll show you on the next screen, that the screening is not necessarily required in this case. And so we're asking for a variance to that as part of the application. So right next door is the Dancho's Edge studio. There's also a maintenance garage located north of the building. My screen has kind of light glare a little bit, but on the north side in that little orange box is where the shipping container is going to be located next to the maintenance garage. And so when it comes to shipping containers, the main consideration on whether it should be approved is really the site suitability and what it is going to look like on that site. Because often shipping containers are industrial in nature. And so they don't always belong in all districts based on the look of them. And so with this shipping container, it is proposed to be away from the street and it will be hidden from view of the residential areas on 56th Avenue, being behind the main building and then next to the maintenance building. So it does help blend a little bit more based on that location. As mentioned, the shipping container is going to be for the use of the Lacombe Girls Softball Association. And so this is where the signage comes into play that MPC is being asked to approve. We do want a little sign on the shipping container to identify that it is a community user group that that shipping container belongs to. The shipping container is only 9 feet high and a sign needs to be at least 8 feet 2 inches above the ground. And so we want to give a variance to that in case they do want to put it a little bit lower down and not put it right at the 9-foot point of the shipping container. So that variance request is for the height above grade, and that would be included in the recommendation. We've put it at 1.8 meters or 6 feet above grade, just to give them between that 6 foot and 9 foot area to display the signage. And then the other thing that we're recommending is a 5-year timeline on the approval. So generally, shipping containers are used for temporary storage solutions. And so with that 5-year timeline, at the end of the approval, we can look and see and make sure that the shipping container is still in good condition, that it's still being used, and then the application can be reevaluated and considered for reapproval. So it's not to say that they have to remove it in 5 years, but we want to be able to reevaluate in 5 years, potentially make changes to the conditions, or if something else is happening on the site and it needs to get moved to a different location to accommodate, then that can all be reviewed. It will also be subject to a license to occupy agreement, which will also deal with similar issues. And we've also placed a condition to ensure that it's maintained in good condition at all times. So with that, we don't have any concerns with the application. So we do recommend that MPC approve the application for the shipping container, including the fascia signs, with a 5-year time limit until November 30th, 2028. Thank you.
Thank you, Planner McLaughlin. I appreciate that. Member Creasy, you have any comments on this application?
I guess just a short one. Normally, I'm not in favor of these types of containers in or near residential areas. However, given its location, I think that this is very appropriate.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from our members? Now, we do have somebody here do you wish to speak to it? Are you here for this application? Well, you probably don't need to, but if you wish to make a comment about the container, you could do that at this time. Certainly, yeah, certainly.
Big button.
Hi, so my name is Angie Sydenham and I'm the current president of the Lacombe Minor Softball. We're changing our name. We're in the middle of it right now. We're trying to be more inclusive. But so I know that this has been quite I just stepped into this president role in the spring. So this has been a learning curve and a half, let me tell you. So the current container that we're discussing was moved to a spot where our shed used to be. Our shed now is where you guys want us to move the shipping container. So I guess, can I ask clarification of a few things then? Is that okay if I do that here?
I'm not sure about that, but I would have thought that that would have been done prior to this meeting. Is that correct? Or
Most of the correspondence has been done with the previous president, who's no longer on the board.
Oh, okay.
Um, can we? Because it's just, what do we do with the shed that's there? Where is it going? We can chat about
Okay,
that stuff.
yeah, because I think that's a different issue than what we're addressing here right now.
Perfect. And I guess I would like to share that our organization's growing quite a bit. So speaking on attending meetings, I would love to know when and where would be an appropriate time for me to attend to discuss our future. Because I think we're going to grow and I would like to get a more permanent solution for storage for us. So I'd love to hear what the city would be willing to help out with or have any ideas. So
Again, I would think that would be our planning department would be able to help you get the first steps of that and possibly at some point come to council
Okay.
and address that or through our recreation department.
okay.
That would be your routes, but I think planning would be the first place to go.
Okay.
The starting point anyway for
Okay.
that.
Because I consider this as a temporary solution as well.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
is that good?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yep, good.
I'll save
Sounds like
my
we're all on,
comments for another time. then.
we're all on the same page here, I think. So, okay. Thank you. Member Ross?
Thank you. I'll just support the motion that counts that the Municipal Planning Commission approves the application for the permitted use of a fascia sign with 1.8 meters height from grade and the discretion use of a shipping container without any screening for 5 years until November 30th, 2028, as presented on October 18th, 2023, on the land zoned CS Community Services District to be located at 5404 56th Avenue, legally described as Lot 2, Block 1, Plan 8920577, subject to the conditions listed below.
And we have 5 conditions again. Is that correct? Yes, and you're aware of all those conditions? Perfect. Okay, Member Kent, any comment? Nope. Good. Member Creasy, any comments on before we vote?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. All right. All right, I will call the vote then on the approval of the container. Member Creasy,
In favor?
that's approved unanimously. Thank you for that. Thank you. All right, now on to the summary of permits issued by the Development Officer, Development Authority.
So we have one permit to identify today. So there was a side yard setback variance on an existing accessory building. It was a shed for 0.63 meters or a 70% variance at 12T Road. The site is zoned as R1, a residential detached district. Variances over 15% can be approved by the development officer if no objections or appeals are received. There were no objections or appeals received for this property. So therefore it was issued by the development officer on October 6th, 2023.
And that's everything.
That is the only one.
Wow. I shouldn't have made a mess of my paperwork here because I thought you were going to be a little while. That was quick. Now I've lost the agenda. I've got it back. Thank you for that. So then all we have is our next MPC meeting, which is November 15th. That's tentative. Is there anything on the agenda for that or?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not, okay, so it's just tentative at this time, but November 15th would be the next MPC meeting. Member Creasy, did you have anything else you wanted to add before we adjourn? Well, I don't blame him for that, so He could have said goodbye at least. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Member Kent's?
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you very much for that. All those in favor? Thank you.